Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miriam and we talk about all kinds of quilting things on this channel. And as you could tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, we're going to be making a really cute quilt block t-shirt. This is going to be for my mom, okay? It's not for me, as you will be able to tell by the size of the t-shirt. It's very small. It's a small, I'm just using a plain Gildan t-shirt. It's my mom's birthday this coming week, and I wanted to make her something extra special, something handmade. And I think we all know by now she has enough quilts, but I don't think you can ever have enough quilted clothing, right? So we are going to be working on that today. I'm really excited. I got all my supplies here, which we're going to go over, and I hope you enjoy this video. So, like I said, I've got a Gildan t-shirt for the foundation of the garment, right? I'm not skilled enough to make my own t-shirts yet. And the quilt block that I'm going to be using is actually from my pattern In Bloom. My mom loves this pattern and she loves flowers in general. So I thought this one was going to be perfect. And this is fairly easy to mess around with the size of the block, at least for me, mentally, for the math, it's easy. So in this quilt pattern, the blocks come out to be 12 inches square, which is way too big for my mom's shirt. So I'm actually going to be cutting that in half. It's going to be a 6-inch finished block, quite small, but it's going to be very, very cute and fun to work with because I personally enjoy working with little pieces. I think it's a fun challenge. I will be using this for inspiration, but I did write up the cutting elements and I did a beautiful drawing of the block. I mean, look at that. I am an artist, obviously. But this was just a rough sketch because I have to visually be able to look at the thing to be able to figure out the math, and that's okay, right? So there's 3 sections across and 3 sections down, and each section is going to be 2 inches. So that means our little half square triangles in the corner sections are going to be 1 inch finished. So they are going to be teeny tiny half square triangles. Very fun though. They're fun to work with, okay? Trust me. If you don't want to add a quilt block to a shirt or whatever, you could always make these into coasters. I'm pretty sure now that I said that I have done a video using a block extremely similar, if not this exact same design, for a coaster tutorial. I will look for that, and if I find it, I will link it in the description box because I go through the whole process of making the coaster or mug rug, whatever you want to call it. But today we are going to be specifically making this for the shirt. So all of my pieces are smaller than 5 inches. So I'm using a random charm pack that I have had for a very long time. And this is a really great way to use up your charm packs for smaller projects, you know, because I know a lot of times it's really easy to just grab a charm pack when you're checking out. Like if you're shopping online and you need to have your total go over the amount for free shipping or whatever, just grab a charm pack. I'm pretty sure that's how I got this one, actually. It's got all kinds of beautiful purples and flowers and everything my mom loves. And it'll go really cute with the shirt because the shirt is kind of like a periwinkle. So it's going to look really pretty. And then the other thing that I have is I have my Omni Grid ruler that I'm just going to use to cut out my pieces and square everything up and all of that. And I may be stepping on some toes here, but notice I am using a 9.5-inch ruler. I don't need to have a 6-inch ruler to make a 6-inch block, okay? You don't have to have all the rulers in the world to make the quilts that you want to make, especially the square rulers. I use this 9.5-inch ruler pretty much for every quilt that I make. It works great, and I've had it for years and years and years. It still looks wonderful, and it works great. I just have tape on here because at some point I needed to use it as a guide for cutting, and I've just left it on there, and it works fine. It's all good. That's what I have, and of course I'll be using my rotary cutter. So first things first, I gotta pick out what fabrics are going to go for which part of the block. So these blocks are divided up into 3 types of sections, okay? So we have the leaf blocks, which are the corner sections. Then we have the flower petals, which is right here, 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 and here. And then the center square is the center, the flower center, right? If you want to have a better visual aid, this is what the block will actually look like when it's done. Or here's one individually on the back. But so that's what our block's going to look like. It's just going to be itty bitty. It's going to be really cute. So let's open up this charm pack and see what we got. And if you're curious, this is from Riley Blake Designs, and it is the Buds and Butterflies by Kayla Naylor Design. And I have no idea how old this is, so I don't know if it's still available in shops or not. Okay, and now I just get to pick out what fabrics I want to use. Since these are 5-inch squares, I can literally get all of my petal pieces from one piece of fabric, which is pretty cool. So I just need to pick out first. I'm going to pick out first the petal fabric. So I have that decided. Let's see. I definitely want one of the super florally. I'm trying to decide, I think, between this top fabric, because this is just really, really cute. And, was it this one? That one's really cute too. But I feel like that purple might clash a little bit with the periwinkle. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But I think, yeah, that goes better. And I think it pops more on the fabric too. So that's going to be our petals. So I'll cut this into 4 2.5-inch squares. Then I need to pick the center of my flower. So let's see, what do I want to do for that? Probably a lighter color. I kind of like this one. I think that would be kind of cute for the center. Don't you? That's a really cute print. I love little dainty flowers like that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So that'll be our center. So those two together. Then I need to choose my leaf fabric. So I'm probably going to pick one of these darker blues for our leaves. Oh, that's really cute. I've used that in something else. This actually might be perfect for the leaves because it has leaves on it. Okay. Very cute. So that'll be for our leaves. Oh yes, it's shaping up to be very cute. I like these combos. Okay, and then I just need to pick out a background fabric, which actually I'm not going to use charm packs for that. I am going to use just a solid, I think. Let's see. What do I got in my solid scraps? I have some white linen from Art Gallery Fabrics. I think that looks really nice together, actually. That's really cute. So these are our fabrics we're going to use. Now, enjoy some beautiful music while I get our pieces cut up, and then we'll get our half square triangles made. Now, this is going to go together pretty quick, so that is good.
Hey, darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey, darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair.
All right, I have all my little pieces here. So there's a couple of things I'm going to be doing here. First, making our half square triangle pieces. So I put our 2 4.5-inch squares together, right sides together. Oh, I should probably mark it so it's accurate. Let's see. Where do you suppose my Dritz Mark Be Gone pen is? Oh, I see it. I'll be right back. Here we go. 8 at a time, half square triangle method. My favorite method to make a lot of half square triangles at the same time. So if you haven't done this before, you put your 2 squares together. Then you mark an X and you stitch on either side of that X 1/4 of an inch away. That gives you your seam allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right. Just like that, you can see the stitches. You can see the stitches a little bit better maybe on this side. Maybe not. But now we make several cuts, and then we have 8 half square triangles, which then we have to square up. I'm going to wait to do that because I'm going to go ahead, since I'm sitting here, and add my little background squares to my petals. So my petals are the little 2.5 inch squares, and the background pieces are 1.5 inches, and I just place them. It's similar to when you're making flying geese. It's just the shape's a little different. And I have this really handy, let me show you really quick. I have this handy washi tape on my machine. So it's a tape that you can rip off and put a new piece on if you need to. But this shows me this red line. Here, let me show you. If I can scooch my machine up a little bit. So let's swing you around. So right here is the washi tape, right? And I'm using this red line as my guide. So I take my piece and the other piece that I'm adding to it, and I put them right sides together. I line them up perfectly. And then I need to sew from this corner to this corner, and I want that to be a really straight line. So what I do is I line up the corners with that red line of the washi tape. And that helps me get a really nice straight line without having to mark all these little squares. Like that. I'll do the next one. Very handy. If you want to check out this tape, I will link it in the description box. I just got it off of Amazon. I think it was like a 2-pack, and I have barely used it because it lasts a long time. All right. So there's our little pieces. This is called chain piecing, if you don't know. If you ever hear someone reference chain piecing, it just means you're piecing multiple units at one time, and you use the thread as a little chain that holds them all together. So you can do them this way, or you can just do individual units if you prefer doing that. It really depends on your preference. So these little corners, I just cut off that extra fabric because we don't want that, leaving 1/4 inch for our seam allowance, like that. And I'm going to try out a new tool that I was sent by the Fat Quarter Shop. I'm going to test it out. I've seen other people using them, and I wanted to try one, so I was excited when I saw it. But it's a little seam roller. It's a little circular piece of wood, and it's got some good weight to it, and you're supposed to just be able to roll the seam so you don't have to press as much. So I thought this was going to be perfect to try out. But you kind of open your seam and then you just roll it. Just give it a quick roll. You don't have to sit there and... That actually worked pretty good. You see how it's staying pretty much open? Then you don't have to get up, get your ironing board out, press it. Though I'm going to have to press these blocks, so... But I think that worked really well. Cool. Let's try another one. I'm always kind of hesitant when I see some notions. Because I'm always like, well, is that just a gimmick, or does that actually work? Is that really a time saver, or, you know, is that person being paid to say it? you know, that sort of thing. So I'm always pleasantly surprised when something actually does work. And that's really nice. I really like that, actually. Now, I don't think, for me personally, I wouldn't want to do this like for like 100 pieces, just because I can tell with like kind of like my arthritis in my fingers, this would start hurting if I was doing this over and over and over again. But for a smaller project like this works great. I really like it. And now they're ready to add our other pieces. I didn't even have to get up. So then we just take our other piece and we put it on the other side, just like that.
Look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Hey, darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two.
Now let's take our little half square triangle square over to the cutting mat and we'll get this cut up real quick. All right, so first I like to cut the lines that we drew with the Dritz pen. So then we have 4 of these little pockets. Then we got to cut these in half. So I like to use the 45-degree angle that's on the ruler and line it up with the angle side of the little triangle. And then cut it in half. And there we have our little tiny half square triangles. Yay! And I just repeat this with all 4 sets. All right. Now we need to press these and then, well, let's try the little roller with these too, because I'm curious how well that would press a half square triangle. Let's see, we're gonna press towards the dark side. I don't want to put too much strain on that seam. Oh, no, I don't want to press you open. Whoa, look at that. The fabric's actually staying over. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually staying. So this actually did press it over. Cool. What does it look like on the other side? Oh, looks pretty good. Give it another press. That's really cool. Let's do another one. Press, oh, I want to press towards the dark side for this. Whoop. It's a little tricky working with such a little piece of fabric, but this thing is definitely working. This is very cool. Check it out. Wow, I'm really impressed by how flat this stays. That's really cool. Definitely gonna take this with me whenever I go sew with my quilt guild that I recently joined. That's gonna be really nice. I don't have to go to an iron quite as often. I'm definitely feeling a little, maybe I shouldn't have my finger up like that because this finger's starting to kind of hurt a little bit, but I need to hold it down. Yeah, then it won't hurt. That's user error. So there's all of our little half square triangles. They're pressed. I didn't even have to pull out my iron. Now I'm just gonna trim these up so they are exactly 1.5 inches.
Hey, darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car.
Now we've got all of our little half square triangles, our petals, and our center. So now I'm just going to, well, I'll lay out all the pieces so I can kind of see what it's gonna look like. Oh, you know what? I needed to cut a few more squares. I needed to cut, well, here, I'll get these placed. That's how it's supposed to look like. But I didn't cut these little squares. I need just blank squares for up there in the leaf parts. But that looks pretty cute, I think. Pretty cute indeed. All right, I'm gonna cut those squares real quick and then I'll be right back. All right, I got my little squares cut. So now I just need to piece together the leaf corner blocks first, and then we can put everything together. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing that.
Little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand? That we only get one life, I wanna make it count. Come on now and take my hand.
All right, now we have our little leaf blocks made. How cute is this little tiny block? Oh, yeah, I like working with little blocks like this. It's just so fun. So now I'm just going to place them the way that they're supposed to be on the block, just like that. That looks beautiful. Yay. Now we can just sew our rows together. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna grab our pieces. Gonna do more chain piecing here. Like that. And then we'll go ahead and piece these together. Part of me wants to make an entire quilt with these smaller in bloom blocks, and part of me is like, no, that's too much. But I feel like it would be so cute. So I might have to think about it. Let me know what you think. Do I do it or do I say no? All right. I'm gonna trim these and press my seams, and then we'll finish our block. Rows 1 and 3, I pressed the seams toward the centerpiece, and row 2, I pressed the seams toward the outer pieces. So then our seams are gonna nest beautifully. See? Lovely. Ooh, so cute. And whoop, last piece. Here we go. One last press, then. Oh my goodness, look how cute that block is. I love it so much. My mom is gonna flip out. So let's take this over and just look at it on the t-shirt and see if I need to add like a border around it or anything, just because I don't want it to be too small and look kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like it's too small for the t-shirt. So that's just the one thing I'm a little concerned about, because I don't want it to look kind of silly, you know? So I'm gonna lay the t-shirt out here. Let's point it down so you can see. Okay, and then the quilt block will go right there. That looks pretty cute, doesn't it? I think it looks cute. So I'm gonna square this up really quick and then decide what I want to do from here. So, all right, this looks so stinking cute. So now I think I'm just gonna use some more of this solid color fabric and cut a piece out that will fit on here. And then I'm gonna put them right sides together and stitch all the way around, turn it inside out, and then it'll be like a little patch, and I think that's going to be good. I don't want anything. A lot of times when I add a quilt block to clothing, I like to put batting behind it because I like that kind of plush feel. But I don't want this to be too warm for my mom because she doesn't like heat. So, and this is going to be like a summertime t-shirt, right? So we are going to cut a square here. Let me get my, whoop. Might be better if I showed you what I'm doing, right? So I'm just going to cut out a square. And honestly, this did not measure 6.5. This was more like 6.25. We'll cut a 6.5 square and we'll make it work. There's our square, and then we're gonna have them right sides together. So I'm just going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch all the way around. I'm going to leave an opening where I can turn it inside out or right side out, and then we'll be able to add it to our shirt. Woo, I'm excited.
Get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty with the wind blowing in your hair.
Okay. We're gonna back stitch. Okay. So there is our piece. I'm gonna cut the little corners just so those corners aren't bulky when we turn it out. Oop. Now we're just gonna turn it right side out. So we find that opening and gently pull the fabric outside of the pocket. And I'm just doing this with the Pure Solids fabric because it is pretty thin. You could always do this same thing with like some type of interfacing, especially if you wanted to use like fusible interfacing to fuse it to your shirt or other garment. You could fuse it onto jeans. That would be really cute. Yeah, I just used the Pure Solids because it was right there and it'll work great for what I need it to do, which is conceal those raw edges. So I'm just going to take this to my iron real quick and give it one last really good press before we stitch it on to the shirt. We're almost done. And look how cute that is. All right. I did one good press. That's nice and flat. Now it is ready for application. So let's go over here. This is the crucial part because you want it to be centered and you want it to be straight. So take your time. And mine still has the opening. I'm just going to close that up when I sew this onto the shirt. So let's see here. This is so cute. I think my mom's going to love it. And it really pops. Okay. So I can actually use my little petal points to get this centered. Because I have the center of the shirt here. And we're just going to center it. Look at that. And then I like to, whenever I do add something, I measure from the armpit seam or the arm seam to the thing on either side to make sure it's the same amount. So that's 4.25. Okay. Can go over just a smidge. Okay. 4.25 and a smidge. 4.25 and a smidge. All right. Technical terms here. That's all we use. So now I am just going to carefully not move the block as I pin it to only the top layer of the shirt. Make sure you do that. You don't want to accidentally pin it to both layers because then it's just, you know, you won't be able to wear the shirt if you sew it to both layers. It's going to pin in on the top and the bottom since it's pretty small and it won't move. So there we go. We are pinned. Now I'm just going to stitch around the edge of the block really as close to the edge as I can. And then we're going to do a little quilting on it too, which is going to be very, very cute. But when you're stitching it onto the shirt, you really want everything to be laying really nice and flat. So just be aware of that. And you don't want to be stretching the t-shirt at all, because then it'll be kind of bunchy and awkward when you go to actually wear the shirt. So things to keep in mind, right? All right, we are once again at the sewing machine. I took my sewing machine table off so it'll be easier to maneuver the t-shirt under the needle. So I got to carefully open up the shirt and get just the top layer on here. And this part, take your time, you know, because it's really annoying when you accidentally sew through both layers of the shirt. Ask me why I know that. So I'm going to make sure everything's laying really nice and flat. And again, I'm going to try to get as close to the edge as possible, probably like 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16, just really, really close. And I'm just going to take it nice and slow so I have a beautiful straight stitch line, because that's what we want.
We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand. Yeah, we only get one life, I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand.
All right. Oh, it's cute. It is very cute. Look at that. So adorable. Now we need to do a little quilting, right? Maybe just a little bit. Let's see. Now, what do I want to do? You know what? I think I'm just going to do Stitch in the Ditch. I was thinking about trying to do something kind of cutesy, but I think I just feel like doing Stitch in the Ditch today. I just want the block to shine, you know? It's cute enough, it doesn't need any fancy stitches on it. So I'm just gonna do Stitch in the Ditch between the different pieces of the block, which will help hold the square in place and just give a little bit more strength to that area.
In a world of green, just like a dream, you and I standing wild and free, with petals so golden, the sun's warm kiss, a love so strong, a bliss, whispers of the
Okay, are you ready to see the shirt? It is done, but here it is. It's so adorable. This size is going to be perfect for her because it is the block is a little small on me, but for her it's going to be perfect. And she is going to love it. It's a close-up of the block. It turned out so adorable. And this only took like, what, a couple of hours, maybe like 2 hours. And that was with recording. So I love how it just kind of has a bit of a plush feel, even though I didn't put any batting in there, but just with that extra layer of fabric and the actual t-shirt material behind there, I think it gave it a really nice plush look. It looks like a little quilt block. I love it. I can't wait to give it to her. Thank you so much for joining me in this video today. This was a fun one. It was nice to do kind of a small project to try to get back into doing fun projects. And I really appreciate you for watching to the end of this video. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know in the comments below. And let me know if you're going to make one of these or something similar. Has this inspired you to make a quilt block t-shirt? I hope so. I really do. But thank you for watching and have a beautiful rest of your day. And I will talk to you very soon. All right? Bye.
It's you that I need, it's you that I want. When the world gets cold.